The Watcher's Interview. Read by Jacob Anderson. Written by Jacob Anderson. Just call me Jacob. My name is Jacob, and what you're about to hear is an interview I recently had with someone who went by the name of Eloheim. He called himself a watcher. Like, I don't know what that is. Like you, I first just shrugged him off and walked my merry way. But when he first introduced himself to me, it was as if he just appeared out of nowhere. And he had another name, but I honestly cannot remember what that name was. The next day, as I went about my business, this guy, Elohim, shows up out of nowhere, as almost as if he just appeared out of thin air. I will say this, however, his massive beard was pretty impressive. That, however, was not what made me agree to this sit down. No, it was something else. See, at first I fought the idea. This guy doesn't know me. I don't know who this mysterious stranger dude guy is. Why did he come to me? Why does he want me to write? Why? But as he spoke to me, well, more stared at me, the more I almost began to yearn. Yearn's the wrong word. It's like I needed to write this story. Before I could tell him I needed to get my tablet and mic for the interview, he touched my head with his open palm. And when I opened my eyes, we were no longer outside, but inside a room, lit only by candlelight and a giant fire. There was a wooden table set before me, and upon it was a stack of paper, quills, and a container of black ink. Talk about being out of my element. This is something straight out of some Lord of the Rings movie. I looked around the room that I was in, and the walls were logged walls, like we were in a cabin. And over the fireplace, over the hearth, was hanging this beautiful tapestry. And in the center of it, everything was black and outlined in reds. In the center of this tapestry was a raven, and in its beak, it held 2 sticks. But encircling the raven, like a sun almost, was antlers wreathed around the raven. It was beautiful, and it caught my eye, and I just couldn't take my eyes off it. It looked like a crest, a family banner, something. Definitely something you see out of some Viking movie or Viking TV show. It legit was screaming, "Hello, I'm a Viking." The cabin, however, was sparse, but felt extremely comfortable and peaceful. I almost lost my sense of where I was when the crackling of the fire in the fireplace woke me out of my dream. Standing by the hearth was Elohim, his back turned towards me. He wasn't alone, however. There was a woman with him, shorter than him. He had to be at least 6 foot tall, at least 6'1" maybe, and large, like a freaking bear. The woman, on the other hand, was athletic in build, with long blondish brown hair. She turned her face in my direction, which took me by surprise. Not her face, but her eyes. I'm not sure if it was a reflection of the fire, but golden flames danced in her eyes. She returned her gaze back to the bear-like man, kissed his cheek, and walked out of the room to an adjacent one. Elohim turned around and now faced me. His eyes, too, had the same reflection, though thinking about it now, the flames I saw in their eyes were no reflection. They came from inside. Elohim walked towards me, his hard-soled boots echoing off the wooden flooring. "Are you ready?" he asked in a voice that had an accent that I couldn't place. It was British, but also a slight hint of German mixed in. Sure. Can I ask a question first? Of course. Go ahead. Where and how am I here? The large man grinned. You'll find out soon enough. But where you are is a safe place, for all allowed within its walls will be safe here. Thank you, I said. I do feel safe, though honestly, I should be freaking out. You just poof, and we're here at some extremely cozy cabin. Another grin creased the mysterious man's bearded face. He motioned to the table and chairs. Shall we? I sat down, inspected the paper and writing tools. I don't believe I have written with a quill and ink before, but I'll give it a try. So, where did you want to begin? Like, should we just begin at the beginning like everyone else does? I mean, the Bible did it, so it can't be that bad. No, there is not enough time or paper to go back that far. Okay, I answered. So, I guess, what are you? My people go by many names in different tongues, but the most common is Watcher. A Watcher? So you watch people and stuff, or just a lot of TV and you just got a fancy title for it? You might say that, yes. But a Watcher is one who studies this current life and time, protects those who cannot protect themselves. We are guardians of the ancient knowledge and of the innocent. Oh, okay. So, like, you fight on the side of good or the light side, right? You're not the dark side of the force. Not exactly. See, a Watcher is neither good or evil, light or dark. We walk both planes of existence and use tools from both sides to fulfill our obligations as it is deemed worthy. You're like what, fallen angels who didn't pick a side? Most of my kind choose to do what is righteous and just, whereas others choose a darker path. I guess that makes sense, though, to be honest, none of this makes sense at all. It will in time, Jacob. I promise. I hope so. So what do other tongues, as you call it, call you? As you said previously, fallen angels, guardians, sages, warriors, protectors, archangels. These are all correct, in one form or another, for we serve all these purposes to fulfill our duty. Now you say we, so there are more Watchers than yourself and that woman who is here. Yes, but Atheria is not a Watcher. No, she is someone far more powerful. I see, I think. So about the other Watchers, we will go deeper, Jacob, into that. But for now, there are 5 Watchers in this current life. Always 5. No more, no less. Do y'all hang out like the show Friends? Do you all hang out like at Central Perk? And I mean, I can just imagine the stories you all share. Actually, no. It is extremely rare for more than 2 Watchers to interact with each other during the course of one's natural lifespan. Now, the times we live in today, things have changed, and the 5 houses will be together during the Great Awakening. Wait. You just dropped a massive info dump. Let's just pick this apart. Why don't the 5 meet? Do you not like each other? Well, yes, it's complicated, really. We typically work independently alongside our flames or partners, but rarely do we work alongside each other, usually for the safety of mortals around us. Wait, mortals? How am I immortal? I mean, how old are you? Are you a vampire? I am not much older than you, but altogether, I have experienced over 10,000 winters. So like a past life sort of thing? Yes, but we experience these past lives more vividly than others do. For us, with time, our past and present and future are one and the same. That's interesting. So you are 40-ish, but you really are over 10,000 years old? You might say so, yes. Well, are you married? Kids? Wait, is that too personal? I am so sorry. I am, yes. You saw Atheria. For 6,000 years we have been one, bonded in this life and the next for eternity. Damn. Yes, you might say that. So, you talked about a great awakening. Can you explain that? But first, can you tell me, Do you have powers and abilities? Like, can you fly and leap by a single bound? No. As a watcher, I have the ability to not just feel energy, but to use it as a wellspring to absorb it. I can also connect with your mind. All I need is to hear your voice. I can get past every mental wall you create. I can see your emotions, your fears, your heart. I can also call upon armies that have pledged their souls to me. I also have access to different realities of existence, to the ancients and to the council of the watchers. I mean, that sounds cool and all, but I was kind of hoping to be a little more showy and impressive, ready for theater, ready for the movies. However, I also don't want you in my head. I can play upon your fears, Jacob, and manifest them to break your mind. Oh, shit. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I have a thing with cats, and I don't want to see that. That is an ability, Jacob, I hate using, and only recently have been tempted to use it again. Okay, so note to self, don't fuck with the Watchers. Now that we know you can destroy minds, tell me more about this great awakening. Atheria was the one who showed me her visions from the ancients in Luna Eth, where 600 people will be awakened and be in contact with us. We are in the slow process of this as we speak. Yet more than 600 will hear the call. Thousands more. Wow, you two have a job to do, but why now? That is a mystery. But our calling is not just for ourselves, but also to bring in the 600. As Eloheim began to finish his sentence, the cabin began to shake violently. Glass shattered from the windows. The fire in the fireplace roared almost uncontrollably, its flames licking the tapered ends of the tapestry, singeing the ends. Then the worst sound I have ever heard, the voice of a woman screaming. "Atheria!" Eloheim shouted. Eloheim jumped from his seat. He turned toward the direction of Atheria's scream and ran towards the adjacent room where she had earlier walked into. As he quickly ran toward that direction, a giant wooden beam fell from the ceiling, and right before it was about to crash upon his head, the beam stopped in midair. I looked and saw Eloheim with one hand raised up. He motioned with his hand as if invisibly gripping the beam and tossed it aside and continued towards Atheria. The moment he reached the door, Atheria came out. She wore an expression of both anger and sadness. Tears streaked down her face. Eloheim held her tightly in his arms. "My love, it has happened." "What has happened?" Before Atheria could answer, a large ball of fire roared through the broken window and swept towards the two. The fireball exploded, and the flames turned into a woman of striking beauty. Long, flowing black hair and skin like bronze. "You too must leave now." "Why?" "Father, I cannot explain it all now, but we have all been betrayed, and war has been waged against both the ancients and the council." "How? Who?" "There is no time," the woman said briskly. "Liz, we will leave and regroup in the hills." Atheria held tight to Eloheim, but Liz broke their embrace, and with fire in her eyes and tears forming, "No, you must both leave alone, separately." "I refuse. We will figure this out. We will." "There is no time, Father," she interrupted. "This is the safest thing to do. You two must part for now and reunite later." Atheria looked up into Eloheim's eyes, both their eyes glowing. "My love." In a moment after she spoke those words, Liz grabbed her arm, and in a flash, the two women vanished in a ball of fire, leaving myself and Eloheim alone in the fractured cabin. Eloheim stood motionless, embers falling around him, the glow of the fire casting his shadow over the burning tapestry. He slowly turned and stepped towards me. He reached out his hand without a word, touched my arm, and in a flash, the cabin and fire disappeared. In an instant, I found myself in the back alley, the smell of smoke still lingering in the air. I looked around and could not find Eloheim until I heard a large crash from behind. I turned and saw a large steel garbage container turned on its side, dented where Eloheim had hit it. He was breathing heavy, and I could see waves of energy emanating all around him. His anger flowed from him in an unnatural cadence. Are, are, are you okay? I even felt stupid for asking that question. The giant of a man stood in silence. I turned and found my papers that I had been writing on. They were on the ground, burned but still legible. I reached to pick them up and overheard what seemed like a conversation. I looked up and saw that the watcher was not alone. Beside him stood a tall woman, wearing a long, white, sheer tunic. Her hair, long and black as twilight. Her skin was pale as the moon and slightly glowed. The two spoke in a language I could not understand, but I could tell they were almost arguing, but not in anger. It almost appeared like she was consoling Elohim. She turned from him and started to stare directly at me, which sent cold chills all through my body. Immense power radiated from her, and unknowingly, I found myself bowing before her. I also bowed my head, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. After a moment, with my head still bowed, I felt a soft yet warm hand touch my shoulder. I slowly lifted my head and looked up, but there was no one there. I quickly climbed to my feet and tried to reason as to what all had just happened. I couldn't. Could you? Elohim turned toward me, his face contorted out of sorrow and anger. His eyes faded from the once golden blaze to a more cool, steely blue. He slowly walked over to me and then past me toward the city street. Elohim, what the hell just happened? Who was that woman in the cabin, let alone that goddess-like chick who was just here and now is not? What the fuck is going on? Elohim stopped and turned around to face me again. The worlds have been shattered, he said in a very raspy voice, filled with emotion. An enemy from old has, from the shadows, done what even the ancients thought impossible. They caused a rift, a separation between the houses and their partners. Not just ours, but others as well. I'm sorry. Will what's going to happen? Will everyone ever reunite? What's going to happen? Elohim took a long, deep breath and then answered, Yes, I have foreseen it, and my mother, whom you just saw, has confirmed it to me as well. I walked closer to the bear of a man. Then when do we leave? When do we leave to go search? I asked. My friend, there is work yet to be done before that glorious day. First, we must continue to awaken the others. Then, prepare for war. Only then will the reunion come. So, is she gone with the other girl? My daughter has taken her away, but I still sense her, feel her. I hear her whispers. So, what should I do? I want to come with you. I want to help. Firstly, my friend here, and like that, a tall, brutish-looking man appeared by Elohim's side. I'm starting to get really tired of these people just appearing out of nowhere. Michael will escort you back to your apartment. Okay, but what will you do? Elohim turned away. I must now prepare for the long road. The alarm quietly grew louder in its annoying din. I shot out of bed, slapped the alarm clock off the nightstand. Sweat was pouring down my body. What a wild dream. All of a sudden, there was a sharp knock on my apartment door. I hurried out of bed, almost falling over myself, and ran to the door. My heart was racing. I looked at my watch, 6:30 a.m. Who the hell is here at that hour? I unlocked the door and opened it. A short, pink-haired girl was standing there. Good morning. I have a package for you, Mr. Jacob. Confused, I reached for the small letter-sized box. Thank you? With that, I took the package and closed the door. I opened the box slowly, not even sure what it was I had ordered. I reached my hand inside and pulled out its contents. I immediately dropped it to the ground. What the hell? But it was a dream. On the floor lay the charred pages of the notes I had been taking, the one I had been taking in my dream. I also noticed a pristine folded white piece of paper. I reached down with shaking hands and took hold of it. Opening it up, I read the note out loud. It was written by Eloheim. Jacob, be ready. We leave at daybreak. I dropped the note and looked up. Oh shit, I said. The end.